Tell me if this sounds like you. You're sitting there stuck on the AWS certification page and you have no earthly idea where to start. You're scrolling through looking at all the certifications, looking at the foundational, professional, associate, and specialty, and you're trying to figure out which one is right for you. Wouldn't it be nice if you had some guidance to not only figure out which certification you should do, but once you've made that decision, have you a guide from start to finish to help you prepare for that exam? If you're new here, I'm Greg, creator of Thoughtful Techie Cloud. This is a channel that helps people just like you navigate their AWS cloud and tech journey. In this video, I'm going to go over 6 free AWS certification exam prep trainings you must know about. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe right now as I'm uploading videos on a weekly basis. This is where the magic happens, the AWS Training Live on Twitch landing page. Specifically, I want to draw your attention to a show called AWS Power Hour. AWS Power Hour is an exam prep focused series, and I'm going to highlight 6 of the shows that are run that you'll find beneficial in today's video. These are trainings that are actually developed by AWS Training and Certification, and each of the training is led by AWS subject matter experts. Not only are these trainings super informative, they're also free. These shows are originally streamed live on Twitch, but after those live streams are over, the on-demand versions are available on this site. Over in the left-hand margin, there's a handy way to filter on the various trainings to make them easy to find. If you click on AWS Power Hour Exam Prep in the left-hand margin, this allows you to filter on the various shows that have already either been streamed and available for on-demand or future shows where you can sign up and check for the schedule. Now, speaking of signing up, AWS Training and Certification is always launching new shows throughout the year. So what you really want to do is sign up here to jump on the email list so that you are notified of all the free live and on-demand trainings that are offered and that are continually updated on this site. I'm going to go over 6 free trainings. We're going to go over the Cloud Practitioner. We're going to go over Solution Architect Associate, Developer Associate, SysOps Administrator Associate, as well as Solution Architect Professional and DevOps Engineer Professional. Now, I've already gone ahead and taken the liberty to filter through some of these trainings here so that we can pop directly into it. Now let's jump in here right now. So if you're thinking about starting off with a beginner level AWS certification, Cloud Practitioner is where it's at, and there is an AWS Power Hour for Cloud Practitioner. Now I'm just going to go over kind of very quickly on each of these because you can always go back, because I'll post the links here after you've watched the whole video where you can go in and do a deep dive on this. But Cloud Practitioner is where you want to get started if you are a beginner and you want to learn the fundamentals of AWS. So I'll just go over the framework. This is a 6-episode show, and the first episode starts off with the exam overview. So this is going to be the exam guide, the domains, the task, and the exam style questions for this episode. Episode 2 is Cloud Concepts. Now, if you're wondering where these episode titles are from, they are based on the domains of the topics that you should know from the exam itself. So these come directly out of the AWS Certified Cloud Practitioner in terms of how the episodes are aligned. Episode 3 focuses on security and compliance. Episode 4 focuses on AWS Cloud Technology and Services. Episode 5 covers the billing, pricing, and support. And then episode 6 is review and practice. There's a lot of great insight through all of these. I happen to be one of the hosts on this particular show, and it was a great session. People always ping me saying that they really enjoyed it. So definitely, if you're a beginner in AWS, definitely give this a try. Now we're going to pop on over getting into the associate levels. Now there are, starting off with what I like about this particular landing page is that this associate landing page has all 3 associates. It has the Solution Architect Associate, Developer Associate, and the SysOps Administrator Associate. Data Engineer Associate is not on here yet. Now, Architecting Associate is the Solution Architecting Associate certification. And I also got the great opportunity to be a host on this training as well. And the formats are the same. let's check out the episodes. There's 5 episodes on this show, and as you can see, they're all available for watch on demand because these have already run. But again, when you sign up for that email list, you'll be made aware of new seasons and updates. So make sure you do that, as I mentioned earlier. Episode 1 of Solution Architect Associate covers the introduction to the Solution Architect Associate exam. This is very consistent with how these are going to go, where you go over the exam guide, the domains, the task, and exam style questions. Episode 2 is Design Secure Architectures. Again, we're in Solution Architect Associate, and this matches up with the domains and task from the exam guide for the Solution Architect Associate. So episode 2 is all about focusing on designing secure architectures. Episode 3 is all about designing resilient architectures. Episode 4 was designing high-performing architectures, and episode 5 focused on designing cost-optimized architectures. These are all aligned to the exam guide for your Solution Architect Associate prep, and there are also going to be lots of practice questions in addition to demos that you can do in this as well. Now let's scroll back up here to the top. Developer Associate. Developer Associate is a 5-episode show. Now, just to back up real quick for the Solution Architect Associate, Solution Architect Associate is you want to help customers achieve their business outcomes by leveraging technology and working backwards from those delivering those business outcomes to figure all that out. Solution Architect Associate follows the AWS World Architecture Framework very closely to make that happen. So I just wanted to give you context there. Developer Associate, as you would notice here, is where you want to develop applications on AWS in the cloud, and you're going to learn how to do that with the Developer Associate exam prep training. Episode 1 starts off again with getting to know the exam. So that's going over the exam guide, the domains, the task, and exam style questions. Episode 2 is developing with AWS services. So that's going over things like coding applications in AWS, talks about Lambda, data stores for application development. Episode 3, focus on security, things like authentication and authorization for AWS services, encryption using AWS, and managing sensitive data in your application code. Episode 4, deployments, CI/CD, deployment testing, testing your applications in a development environment. Great stuff here. And then episode 5 is troubleshooting and optimization, assisting in root cause analysis, instrumenting code for observability, and optimizing applications by using AWS services and features. Now let me go up here to SysOps Administrator Associate, and the concept that you'll want to learn here. Now this show is 6 episodes. So this focuses on operational excellence in AWS. Episode 1 is the introduction, focuses on domain 1, monitoring, logging, and remediation. Episode 2 focuses on reliability and business continuity. Episode 3, deployment, provisioning, and automation. Episode 4, security and compliance. And episode 5, networking and content delivery. And the icing on the cupcake, cost and performance. All right, I know your head might be spinning, but just hang in there with me because then we're going to cover the pros. This is the AWS Power Hour for Architecting Pro. Now this show here is 6 episodes. Now, Solution Architecting Pro is obviously a step up from Solution Architect Associate. So the architectures that you're going to focus on are going to be more complex. The business problems that you have to solve are going to be more complex as well. Episode 1 was all about designing solutions for organizational complexity. Episode 2 was designing for net new solutions. Episode 3 is all about continuous improvement for existing solutions. So this is an architecture that's already in place, and your focus is optimizing it and improving it and making it better based on updated and changing business requirements. Episode 4 is accelerating workload migration and modernization. So this is focusing on taking workloads that might not be in AWS and getting them into AWS. Episode 5 was review. So this is where we went back and reviewed what we had talked about up until this point. And then episode 6, practice makes perfect, all exam questions. And especially for the pro level certifications, you need a lot of practice for these questions because the questions are like very long, very wordy, and you need to build that mental endurance to be able to get through them. So definitely check that out if you're considering the Solution Architect Pro. And the last certification AWS exam prep I wanted to talk about is the AWS Power Hour for DevOps Engineer. Now this show here runs 6 episodes and start from the top. Episode 1 is Introduction to the Exam Guide, the Domains, the Task. And the focus here is on the software development lifecycle and automation. So things like implementing CI/CD pipelines, building and managing artifacts, implementing deployment strategies. Episode 2, Configuration Management and Infrastructure as Code. Episode 3, Designing Resilient Cloud Solutions. So that's focusing on highly available solutions to meet business requirements and resilience requirements, implementing solutions that are scalable, and implementing automated recovery processes that align to recovery time and recovery point objective. Episode 4 is Monitoring and Logging. With any architecture running any business, you have to build great monitoring and logging so that you can beef up your observability. Episode 5 is all about incident and event response. What do you do when something goes bump in the night? This episode 5 covers all of that. Things like managing event sources to process, notify, and take actions, implementing configuration changes in response to events, and troubleshooting system and application failures. In episode 6, you thought we were going to get out of here without talking about security. Well, that's not correct, because we are going to talk about security. Security and compliance, things like implementing techniques for identifying access management at scale, applying automation for security controls and data protection, and implementing security monitoring and auditing solutions. Now, I know that was a whirlwind of information, but here's what I suggest as your next steps. Go back to the AWS certification landing page and do a deeper dive of the AWS certifications that I highlighted in this video. For example, let's say you're on the foundation side, right? So you're really looking at that Cloud Practitioner. You can click on Cloud Practitioner here. Then you can expand an entire landing page, which is dedicated towards the AWS Cloud Practitioner in this case. So it talks about exam duration, how many questions, how much does it cost. What you really want to do is look at these steps to get ready. And I have a number of videos on my YouTube channel on these, so you can just search my latest videos, and I have videos on Cloud Practitioner for it. But these exam guides are going to be very helpful to review. Covers all the domains and tasks, target candidate description, and really helps you understand what's on the scope of the exams, not only for this certification, but all the AWS certifications have these exam guides. So make sure you check those out. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, as it helps the channel grow. And check out this video. I'll see you in the next video.